Hi everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to take a motor that's been sitting in salt water and hasn't been started in 10 years and get it going in 3 days. So the motor in question is a Perkins 4107. It's a marinized 4-cylinder diesel engine, and it's the engine that's on the yacht that we just bought. So this is the first video that I'm going to make of the process of restoring the yacht. So we went out there yesterday and we took a heap of bits off the engine, and I'll just show you what we've got. So we took the water pump off, and we were pleased to find out that that wasn't seized, and the bearing sounds like it's in not too bad a condition, so that's okay. We took the starter motor off. That is also not seized up, but I thought I'd just take it and give it a bit of a clean up. We took off the alternator. That was seized, but it was just the fan blades were rusted to the body. So I got that unstuck, and then I checked the brushes and they're all good. So I think that'll go. I think that'll be fine. The other thing that we took off was this heat exchanger, and this is posing the biggest problem at the moment. So the way this works is that this tube bundle goes inside the heat exchanger, and salt water gets pumped up from the ocean. It flows through this tube bundle and back out the exhaust. And then fresh water comes from the engine's water jacket, and it flows through this container around this tube bundle, and then it goes back into the engine. And this tube bundle is what cools the water down. So the problem is that this has just been sitting there full of salt water for so long that the bottom of it has completely corroded out. So that's where the tube bundle would go. But as you can see, it's not going to work anymore. So my initial thought was to just scrap this and run salt water straight through the engine to cool it. But a lot of people have come forward and said that's not a very good idea. So what I'm going to do now is make up a new container for it out of some aluminium sheet. So I've got to go back out to the boat now to get a couple of measurements to make sure that it's not going to interfere with anything. I've got the aluminium sheet that we need ready to go. So I'll go out there and get the measurements, and then I'll come back and we will weld up the container for it. Alright, so the other day when I was here, I kicked these floor panels back into place, and that's made it look a little bit better. Now, here's the engine. The other day when we were here, I also managed to get this pulley to turn, and the engine still has compression, so it will go. And I've just come out to get a few measurements for the new container that I'm going to make for the heat exchanger and make sure it's not going to interfere with any of this stuff. So this impeller here, this pulls salt water up from the ocean. It goes around there and it comes out this tube and goes through the bundle of the heat exchanger, and then that salt water goes out to the exhaust. Fresh water gets pumped from the water pump on the engine. It gets pumped, comes out this pipe, it goes around the tube bundle, which cools the fresh water, and then the fresh water goes down into here. There's a thermostat in here, and it goes around the engine to cool it. So I'll get a few measurements. I'll make sure that it's not going to interfere with anything, and then I'll go and make up the container before we come out tomorrow and try and get it going. It doesn't look like much. It looks like it's in pretty bad shape, but I'm pretty confident that it will go. I've cut the pieces. These are the two end pieces, so I just need to cut a circular hole in each one of those where the tube bundle can go through. And then these pieces will just make up the box, and it has a shelf kind of in the middle of it to separate the cooling water from the cool water. So the water comes in, it has to go around this, and then it goes into another compartment and comes back into the engine. So I'm going to cut the hole out, and then I'm going to start welding it together. Alright, I've got the container tacked together, and I've got the tube bundle sitting in there. So the way this works is that there's two separate chambers of the heat exchanger. So we've got the tube bundle in here that has the salt water flowing through it, and then the fresh water comes in through this tube and into here, and there's a partition this is a partition so that the fresh water is forced to go around the tube bundle, cooling it, and then it goes through this little hole into the top chamber, and it comes out there and goes back into the engine. So what I've done is I've just bent this little shelf up, and I'll put this in here like so. So there's a little gap at one end, and I will weld in a pipe down there, and then the exit port here, so that it goes in the bottom, around the tube bundle, comes up through here into the top chamber, then back out into the engine. So we're getting there. It's looking good. I finished making the container for the heat exchanger. This is it. So the tube bundle goes inside here, and it has salt water running through the tube bundle and out of the tube bundle and into the exhaust. Fresh water comes in here in this tube, in this pipe, comes into the bottom of the container, and there's a little shelf halfway through there. This fresh water comes into the bottom, goes around the tube bundle, goes up into the upper section of the container, and it comes out here and goes into the engine through the thermostat. So that's done, and it looks a lot better than the old one. Now I've got to put the tube bundle in, but the tube bundle has a few holes in some of the tubes. So what I'm doing is the tubes that have got holes in them, I'm just flattening them and folding them over just to stop any water going through there and getting into the system. So I've got a couple more to do. I'll do that, and then I'll put the tube bundle back in, and we'll be ready to go back out there and see if we can put it all back together. Right, we're back out on the boat. I've got the heat exchanger, the new heat exchanger. We've got all the bits and pieces that we need to put back on. I'm going to start putting it all back together, and then we're going to see if we can get it going. I forgot to bring my tripod, so I'm just going to try and set the camera up somewhere. Probably won't be the best angle, but we'll see how we go. Today we've put all the bits back together on the motor, and we're going to try and get it going. We've got Gary with us, our mentor, and guru.
No worries. Let's see if we can get this motor going. Well, we're just hooking up the salt water intake. So Dan's just doing that now. That's on. Next thing to do is to free up the controls with a bit of CRC, so that we can stop it if it happens to start, and then we'll see if it's got gears. And more interestingly, searching in the cupboard, I happen to find that. So we hope that that's not it. We hope it might be on there. We'll see.
How are you going, Dan?
Yeah, going good. We're not far away now. We're just gonna. Alright, I'll go down underneath and I'll see if I can get the controls freed up, and then we'll give it a go. I've got to go in from the inside. Come and have a look. I'll show you.
You got a torch?
Yep. I'm going in this hole.
Jeez. Oh, see ya.
See you later. We'll go feet first. It's a dirty little hole.
How is it down there?
There's a lot of corrosion. A lot of corrosion. Alright, hang on, Gary, hang on.
Sorry, Dan.
Trying to kill him, Gaz.
There's reverse. Whoops. Okay, that's all good.
Is that working?
Yep, perfect. Go all the way both ways. That's forward, that's neutral, maybe reverse or forward, I don't know, whatever. Now we need to get this the stop thing working, or else disconnect it so that you can get to it and put a wire on it so that we can stop the motor. Oh no, there they come.
Yes,
That.
one. Oh, right.
Oh, it smells nice under there.
Oh shit,
oil?
stinks.
Yum.
Wow, around. Smells like an egg fart.
Okay, so we've got oil pressure. We've got oil pressure. So, do you want to see if we've got to put water in it yet? But do you want to see if it'll turn over?
You might as well give it a kick and just see what happens. Nothing. I know why. The starter motor's not hooked up.
That'll do it every time.
What's the next plan?
We're gonna try and start it with the jumper leads.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Ready? Wow, sounding good.
Well, it turns over.
Yep. Now we've got to just check, see if we've got to tighten up all that and clean them, and see if we've got fuel going into it. Put water in that, and then try and start it.
All right, give it a go now.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hello.
Got to get a bad contact.
Hello.
You ready?
Yeah.
No. I think you're going to have to pull the solenoid out and join it up properly, Dan.
So we've just lost power completely. Everything's lost power. So we're going through and we're trying to basically just re-establish power. We're going to have a look and see if we can get the connections cleaned up a little bit. Well, let's find the injector pump because it may have a primer on it.
Yeah. Well, the injector pump's got to be down over here somewhere, I think.
Alright, so we couldn't get the engine going. It needs a little bit more work, but now we're going to just start pulling everything out of it. We're going to take absolutely everything out and then see what we've got and what we don't have and what we want to get rid of and what we want to keep, and then we're just going to scrub the whole thing down from the inside. So was it a good, it has crossed my mind. Was this a good decision? Was it a bad decision? I think it'll be worth it in the end.
Top correction. This one here is about to be cleaned, and I've done one rinse over on this wall, so you can see it's a lot cleaner.
Wow, that is a lot cleaner.
It'll still need a few more scrubs, but it's a start. Yeah, I've just been.
What are you using?
We've got vinegar in here, and we've got water which has eucalyptus oil in it.